After we leave the gym, we are confronted by Oleana. If you don't remember her, she was Chairman Rose's assistant. But she gives us his lead card and tells us to meet him at I think it's a seafood restaurant in Holbury. But she tells us to meet him there. We find out from his league card that he was once a participant in the Galarian League, coming second place in the previous Champion Cup, and we should get an anime spin-off about that. How interesting would that be? We also got Nessa's league card, as you can see, which describes her as a model, and strangely enough, establishing Milo as her rival, which is kind of odd considering he's the first gym leader, but I suppose he's super effective because he's got grass types, but... After that, we go into the restaurant and find Sonia, Chairman Rose, and Oleana herself waiting for us. This is a seafood town, apparently, as Chairman Rose, I forgot his name there for a moment, but now I remember that Chairman Rose explains to us. And the discussion, it pretty much goes like this. How's your grandmother doing? Oh, she's doing fine. Very full discovery Dynamax. Blah blah blah. It's a bit of a lore dump, I'm not gonna lie, and I kinda wish this could have been spaced out. But nonetheless, it's fun seeing these characters bounce off each other, considering we rarely get to see Sonia interact with Chairman Rose. After that, we go to Galarian Mine 2, which, like the previous Galarian Mine, is beautiful. I'm not exaggerating here when I can say this is one of the most attractive cave areas in Pokemon. It sounds like I want to have passionate intercourse with these mines. I don't know how that's coming off, but these are beautiful. I swear to God, they are beautiful in so many ways. We also run into Bede, who gives us quite a tough fight. He has I think, Sologis, Gothorita, Hatini, Hatavin. I think I know how these names spell, but I just don't know how to say them. And Galarian Ponyta, which I think is the newest addition to his team. It's sadly not a fairy type, but it's a psychic type. But it does gain the fairy type upon evolution. So I'm tripping over my words here. He does cause a bit of damage to our team. He does take out Flare in the fight. The rivals are getting a bit more difficult to fight now, especially not Hop in our next battle of him won't be as difficult, but the battle of that will be quite difficult, so the rival battle should get more interesting from here. But nonetheless, we take him down fairly easily, and he goes off, and he's still on his high horse. Get it? Because his opponent did now? But, oh, it's the worst joke ever made. After we continue going through this beautiful setting, we have another tuffle with Team Yell, and we're forced to do a double battle with Hop. I love double battles. I want to play Coliseum and XD someday, because those are all double battles all the time. I feel like they're probably the most strategic Pokemon battles compared to single battles, but I will admit they kind of took it a bit too far with triple battles and rotation battles, because that was when it was getting into an area of a just cluster of Pokemon, and it was just, there's too much going on. That was the issue of triple and double battles. I mean, triple and rotation battles. And I'm kind of glad to just scale it back down to double battles. I think they should focus more on that in the future, and hopefully make a mainstream game that just focuses on double battles, but nonetheless, these guys are fairly easy to take down. They have a Galarian Noon, a Feeview, a Lipod, and a Pancham, which are pretty easy to take down. The outstander here is Pancham because that's a pure fighting type, compared to the others which are all dark or dark normal types. But nonetheless, Hop has got his Wooloo to support us, but you can knock that one out yourself, or it'll knock itself out eventually, because it just exists. And he'll send out the much more useful Corvusquire, so if you have an issue with the battle, which shouldn't be, just knock out the Wooloo. Just knock it out. After we have that battle with Team Yell, we continue down the mine and run into Kabu, the Fire-type gym leader of Galar, who is quite unique for being an old man. There isn't another old person gym leader, but we don't have a lot of seniors in Pokemon, which I suppose makes sense. It's not really targeted for them, so they don't get represented. But funnily enough, he's with a Charcoal. I think that's how it's. I think it's the Pokemon name. It's the second stage in the Roly-Coly evolutionary line, but it's right there. And funny enough, he doesn't use it, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure he actually does in his team, but we'll find out later on. After we fight the scariest police officer in human existence, go back to the Budu Inn in Motorstock and run into Marnie, who's gonna give us our first rival battle with her, if I remember correctly. She sends out quite a pretty unique team, considering it's mostly dark types. Out of Scraggy, a Morpeko, which is an electric dark type and a fighting dark type, but then for some reason she sends out Krogunk, which is a poison fighting type. Now this is actually quite clever because it counterbalances the fairy type weakness she has on her team by default. So I kind of like that that's been added to sort of counteract that. The fighting type still doesn't really help much, but nonetheless, it is a bit of clever foreshadowing on the character's part, and you can sort of see that coming through. Plus it also foreshadows a relative of hers later on in the game. But she chose to express her feelings through a bite. I don't know what to take of that. Now, after that we take on Kabu's gym, which is pretty unique for a gym because it actually has a pretty outstanding gimmick. You have to capture a Pokemon whilst you're fighting alongside another trainer who's going to try and KO it, or presumably capture it themselves. But I found a pretty ingenious solution to this. Knock out the other trainer's Pokemon and they can't do anything. I kind of find this a pretty fun solution. Just it's meat to the grinder, plus there's no issue capturing the Pokemon, so just take out your battle partner. It's much easier. After we take out the gym challenge, we now have to fight Kabu, who, strange enough, instead of being parallel from us on the gym court, is right beside us. Can I just say how cute his running animation is? It's a little jog, but it's so strange. It's kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. But we have to engage him in combat. And yeah, because we've got Dreadnought on our team, this should be a fair cakewalk. He sends out a Ninetales, which doesn't really stand a chance. It kind of gets destroyed, I'm not gonna lie. Dreadnought is a Rock water type, so it is super effective and resists anything he can throw on us. The worst he can do is Will-O-Wisp. But we get Ninetales down to red health on the first turn and lower its speed, so we can come in for the second time and get priority and basically just take out his Ninetales before it can do anything. It's not really effective. Next up he sends his Arcanine out, which I use the opportunity to get rid of the Sizzlipede that were in the party because we just caught them. Again, because the way I take on the gym challenges in Pokemon is I try to rival the gym leader's Pokemon, I wanted to get rid of the Sizzlipede on our party, so we only had Faboot, Surdame, and Muncher to deal with here. But his Arcanine doesn't stand much of a chance when we send Dreadnought back in, and as a result we get the Sizzlipede's evolution, which is presumably pissed off that we just used its pre-evolution as sacrificial lambs, so it's probably not very happy with us. Sends out Centiskorch, which is the evolution of Sizzlipede, and it is the first Pokemon in the Gym League Challenge that Gigantamaxes instead of Dynamaxes. It looks long, but there's not much to really say about it. It's a longer Centiskorch, I mean. It's a longer Centiskorch that's more yellow on the underside and red on top, but there's not much to say about it. So we defeat Kabu fairly easily after we take Dynamax Dreadnought. After that we get the Fire Badge as a result and the TM for Will-O-Wisp. We run into Hop in the lobby, and after that we meet all the previous 3 gym leaders which we just defeated, so Milo, Nessa, and Carver, which is actually kind of nice to see. It's nice seeing the gym leaders in groups, like they acknowledge each other. And they pretty much say that, hey, most trainers don't get past this point, congratulations. So it is setting up our trainer and Hop as special, despite us constantly trouncing Hop. Also, there's a bit of an odd story part where Bede and Hop meet each other and go off to have a battle with each other. And this affects Hop, because Bede wins, and it destroys his spirit because he keeps losing. So I kind of like that Hop's mental state is getting worse as the game goes on. It's really interesting, and it leads to a quite unique turn in his character. For the franchise such as Pokemon, that is such encouraging, like, love your Pokemon, always stick to the team you love, he does something quite interesting, which we'll get to when we see that. After a quick curry with our team, which really shows us how they've developed, this is what I like about the Pokemon curry function, or more exact Pokemon camp. It makes you realize how big your team has gotten over a period of time, And it also shows all the unique types of curries in the world. I've never had instant pot curry, so this might be a bit of a cultural exchange for me. After that we head to Hammerlock, which is the city of the 8th gym leader. Don't worry, we're not there yet, sadly. Well, I'm saying sadly, you should be looking forward to this. But yeah, I love the architecture and I love the wee statues because it foreshadows the type of gym it is. We also run into Bede and Chairman Rose and Oleana. Basically, Bede is collecting wishing stars for Oleana and Chairman Rose. So they're just having a bit of a monologue and he's just explaining basically how Bede is unopposed in this gym challenge, which our rival battles beg to differ with him. After this, our player character has a talk with Chairman Rose where basically he uncovers or starts to reveal his general plan. He wants to use the wishing stars for energy. This is actually really interesting because he's a team leader in a way that's more for the greater good of the region, but after that he just leaves us and we run into Leon, who's wondering why Hop is so down in the dumps and tells us that we're doing well in the gym badges, which is good. Leon showing support. I do like that he's more involved in the game than other champions are, and I kind of wish that this continues on in future generations, but he also is a wee bit curious about Bede as well. But he knows that Hop will rebound and become a great trainer, so it really does build up Leon and Hop's relationship, even though they're not in the same scene, if that makes sense. We meet Leon, we go on to get a wee fashion change, and then go on to meet Raihan. After that we meet up with Raihan, who, if you don't recognize him, he was in the introduction to the game, battling Leon, and of course he was in the gym ceremony. He's quite an interesting character, but we'll find that out later on when we actually battle him, because he is the 8th gym leader. So Hammerlock is his city, and this is where his gym is, if you didn't quite catch that. His design is pretty unique, and you might notice the jersey underneath his hoodie. It looks a bit familiar, but we'll address that when we come to it and battle his gym. After that, we run into Sonia, who is exploring the legend of the Darkest Day. It's a tale of where two princes apparently received the sword and the shield, which allowed them to tame the Darkest Day, and therefore save Galar, and then they became kings. It's a pretty basic legend, but there's more to it than they let on, which I kind of like that they don't initially just dump it all on us. It's sort of revealed from when Sonia first saw the warrior statue that now there's actually two heroes of the Darkest Day, which is a bit of a twist, but it's obvious considering there's two versions of the game, Sword and Shield, so I can understand why they had to do that, but it's not very interesting, it's okay, we're not here for the legend, let's face it. After this we go to Route 6, and have a run with Team Yell. This time they're trying to prevent people from walking across a bridge, because it might wake up a silly cobra. It's as dumb as it sounds, and we also run into Hop. We take on two Team Yell trainers, but after these two trainers, we find out Hop has lost his, so we have to take her on as well. Hop is of course bummed out, and this sort of leads a bit more into his arc, and it reflects in the next rival battle, I think. It's either this one or the next one, I'm not too sure. But after this, we run into this mysterious lady in pink, who is a gym leader. She is the 5th gym leader. I forgot the number there. She's the 5th gym leader specializing in fairy types, and she becomes a quite important character to the game for one of the rivals. You'll find out which one when we get there, but anyway guys, I'm going to end this off here. So see you guys in the next episode of Why It's Great, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Peace.